As much as I'm trying to give you guys tips on how to get better at Apex Legends, the reality of it is that the game itself already does a really good job of teaching you most of the important things. That's why all of my guide videos are so freaking short, especially compared to something like Overwatch, which is a game that tells you next to nothing about how to play. In spite of all the tips that the game gives you in this case though, there are still a lot of common mistakes I see players make. Whether they are random individuals on my team when I queue in solo, or, you know, the people I end up slaughtering because they are making said mistakes. In today's video, I want to cover my personal top 5 things that I see beginners do wrong in Apex Legends. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Number 1 on our list, don't treat Apex like a traditional looting game. Time and time again I catch players off guard who spend most of their time just looting and looting more. There is a finite amount of items that you need to confidently win an engagement, and everything else beyond that just wastes your time and makes you a loot pinata. When using high precision guns, for example, like the longbow, the wingman, or the peacekeeper, I rarely carry more than a single stack worth of ammo around if I can have something else instead. Although these weapons require very few shots to bring an enemy down, which means that the chances of you blowing through an entire stack during a fight are very slim. And because all these guns are so popular, it's likely that whoever you slaughtered will carry more ammo anyway. Naturally, that does not apply to weaponry that eats ammo for breakfast like the R301 or the Spitfire. But my point is that, especially when you get closer to the late game, the amount of items that are actually useful to you is very limited. When the match is coming to an end, what you really want to have are grenades rather than stacks upon stacks of shield batteries and first aid kits. In a lot of circumstances, the enemies won't even give you the chance to use all these items anyway. Personally, I try to get into the late game carrying a full stack of everything that can heal me, whether big or small, enough ammo for an extended engagement, and as many grenades as I can carry, especially arc stars. Grenades in many cases force your enemies to make tough decisions as to whether they want to leave cover or not, and they can also buy you time to heal up or close a distance if you want to push. That makes them very valuable. But if you spend an entire fight just sitting behind a rock trying to use the 15 shield batteries you collected, then you're giving your opponents every chance to do as they please. And trust me when I say that, I kill plenty of players who end up carrying enough support items for my entire squad. Which means that we now have to waste less time looting and can spend more time hunting down enemy squads, whereas you have spent your match gathering these things for me just to die while you try to get more. We're not playing Destiny or The Division or Anthem here. You're supposed to loot items to fight other squads and not get items to then get even more items. Number 2 on our list, don't bring a knife to a gunfight. This is, again, a very late game specific point, but you can apply it to the early game as well. If all you can find on the drop is a hemlock, then maybe don't run into the bunker to try and fight the guys who found peacekeepers and thermite grenades. If you can't, for the life of yours, find weapons that help you right now, make sure you don't willingly take engagements that you are destined to lose. I see a lot of players who think bringing shotguns into the late game is the best idea because, in theory, the shrinking of the circle would force a close range fight. But pacing in Apex can be all over the place. The amount of times half the squads are already dead before the first ring even starts moving is insane. That means that a lot of deciding engagements can happen over medium to long range because the ring simply has not progressed enough yet. If you find yourself in a situation where very few squads are left very early into the game and you can already tell that the circle is not going to end up in a close quarter kind of area, make sure you always bring a weapon that you can use over medium to long range. I mean, you have 2 weapon slots for a reason, right? Ideally, you want something for both medium and close range at the very least. And if one of your squad mates also has a sniper rifle, then you should be in a decent position. Just remember that the circle dictates the battlefield in the endgame, so your weapons of choice should be reflecting whatever place you have to fight your way through. And in the early game, just don't take fights that you are not capable of taking given the random loot that you could get your hands on. Let me make number 3 short. Stop camping. Apex Legends is a very mobile game, and as such, it has given players a lot of tools to combat stationary enemies. Next to the grenades we talked about earlier, the hero design too helps them finding you and taking you out. I mean, Bloodhound himself is probably the best example of that. I lost count of the amount of times we were up against squads who were camping all game long at the end. Let me assure you, it's very easy to tell when somebody went out of their way to avoid fighting, because we are running it down mid taking fights left, right and center. That means that we are not only on high alert, but we also warmed up our aim. If you have to go into the last fight of a match cold against a team that was hunting squads this entire time, then you are already on the back foot. So you are not only fighting against all the tools that the developers gave us to send you straight back to the lobby, but you are also playing against a squad that's completely warmed up while you have not shot a bullet all game long. And that can make a bigger difference than you think. Number 4 on our list, bring the right legend for your playstyle. Now look, you can make anything work with any legend as long as you are a good shot. Given player skill, the choice of your legend is very much secondary. However, most of us are not Shroud, so we might want to give our character choice a second thought. What I'm about to describe here are, at the end of the day, merely suggestions though. If you have any other ideas that work for you, that's great. Feel free to share them with us in the comment section if you want to, just don't get your panties up in a knot, alright? Okay, so the way I choose my legend whenever I don't just default to Mirage because he's obviously the most fun character in the game is by looking at who I'm playing with. That's easy when I play with my friends, because I know that one of them loves taking long range battles, which means that a character like Lifeline will be perfect. If somebody falls, we are usually far away enough for me to be able to make use of her abilities. I can pick my teammates back up without having to worry about somebody walking around my shield. I can use my care package as bait, and having a small hitbox is definitely a nice bonus. But another friend of mine really likes to go all in. So if he wants to play Pathfinder and Tarzan his way into the enemies, I know that I can get away with playing Mirage because I'll be close enough to make use of my decoys in a big way. Again, those are just my suggestions, and ultimately I really want you to think about your own playstyle and how the characters in this game do and don't synergize with whatever the hell you are doing. Don't take my words as set in stone. Go out and experiment. See what playstyles work best using which character and which guns. And lastly on our list, number 5, expect the hyenas. I never went out of my way to fact check if this is actually accurate or whether or not it just feels like that because of all the mobility that we have in this game, but King's Canyon compared to other Battle Royale maps feels very, very small. I mean, okay, we are also playing with 60 players as opposed to 100. Anyway, one thing that our squad noticed was that in Apex more than any other game, squads are waiting for you to take a fight before coming out of the woodworks. And even if they are not cowardly campers, chances are high that somebody passing by heard your gunshots and wants to see what's up with that. So this last point is very straightforward. Whenever you engage in combat, make your decisions quickly. If you can't take the fight, bail out as soon as you can and look for a battlefield that you can benefit off of. If you are a confident shot, then don't pussyfoot around. Go in, finish your enemies, loot quickly, and get the hell out before the hyenas come to eat you alive. The last thing you want is getting flanked while you're busy checking your loot pinata, and don't forget, it's always better to take a fight on your terms rather than theirs. So there's nothing against a tactical retreat if it means not getting slaughtered. And that's it for today, talking about my personal top 5 things that beginners do wrong in Apex Legends. Many of these sins have been committed by yours truly, so I hope that you can learn from my mistakes. If you enjoyed this video, then let me know by dropping me a like on your way out and consider sharing it with a friend you think would find it useful. And while you're down there, don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more videos just like this one. Thank you everybody so much for watching, and I hope to see you guys next time.